During the Cold War, governments tried to weaponize everything: fear, physics, even the human mind. But few people know that scientists once tried to weaponize something stranger: dreams. It sounds like science fiction, spies entering each other's minds, armies trained through their sleep. But for a brief moment in history, that line between imagination and intelligence blurred. This is the forgotten story of the dream experiments. It begins in the 1950s, when the United States and the Soviet Union were locked in a new kind of arms race. Not just for weapons, but for information, for influence, for control of consciousness itself. Psychologists, psychiatrists, and neuroscientists became unlikely soldiers. Governments funded research into everything from telepathy and mind control to extrasensory perception and dream manipulation. The idea was simple: if dreams were the mind's most unguarded state, then maybe they could be studied, influenced, even programmed. At the University of Chicago, a graduate student named Eugene Asarinsky made a discovery that would transform sleep research forever. He found that during sleep, the eyes move rapidly under the lids, a state now known as REM, or rapid eye movement. It was in this stage that people reported the most vivid dreams. Suddenly, the hidden world of dreaming seemed measurable. Scientists could now map the rhythms of the night, see when people entered dream states, and maybe what happened inside them. This discovery attracted attention far beyond academia. If dreams reflected emotion and memory, could they be used to predict behavior, or even extract secrets? Military and intelligence agencies began to quietly fund sleep and dream studies. Some projects were purely scientific, studying fatigue, vigilance, and the effects of sleep deprivation on soldiers. Others went deeper, into the psychology of suggestion and subconscious influence. In the early 1960s, reports surfaced of Soviet experiments exploring psychic communication through dreams. Rumors spread that the USSR had been testing whether one sleeper could transmit images or emotions to another across distance. In response, the U.S. intelligence community expanded its own research into parapsychology. Studies conducted at places like the Stanford Research Institute and Duke University. Some of these projects, later associated with programs like Stargate, explored remote viewing and extrasensory perception, attempts to gather intelligence through altered states of consciousness. Dream telepathy fit right in. One of the most famous civilian researchers was Dr. Montague Ullman, who founded the Dream Laboratory at Maimonides Medical Center in New York. Throughout the 1960s and 70s, he and his colleagues conducted dozens of controlled experiments on dream telepathy. Subjects would sleep in the lab, connected to EEG monitors to track REM. In another room, a sender would concentrate on a randomly chosen image, a painting, a photograph, sometimes even a film clip. When the sleeper entered REM, researchers would wake them and record their dreams. A surprising number of participants described dream imagery that seemed to match the target picture, sometimes eerily closely. A person dreaming about a woman holding a bird might be matched with a sender staring at a Picasso painting of the same thing. To the researchers, it was evidence that dreams might allow minds to communicate beyond waking consciousness. To skeptics, it was coincidence and suggestion. Still, the findings caught the attention of agencies that were already experimenting with hypnosis, LSD, and other forms of psychological influence. If thoughts could be shaped in sleep, it could be a powerful tool, not just for intelligence gathering, but persuasion. Sleep, after all, makes us vulnerable. It lowers critical reasoning, opens emotional pathways. Advertisers and militaries alike were fascinated by the possibility of sleep learning, embedding messages into the subconscious through repetition during light stages of sleep. During the 1950s and 60s, both American and Soviet labs explored subliminal learning and hypnopedia. Early experiments claimed that people could retain simple phrases or facts heard in their sleep. Later studies found the results exaggerated, but the dream of programming the mind persisted. One U.S. Air Force program even tested whether dream states could improve pilot training or combat performance through suggestion and repetition. Nothing conclusive came of it, but the idea didn't die. At the same time, darker experiments were unfolding under classified programs like MK Ultra, where the CIA tested mind-altering drugs, hypnosis, and sensory deprivation. Some of these studies intersected with dream research, exploring how sleep deprivation or induced nightmares could break resistance or increase suggestibility. The logic was as chilling as it was flawed. If you can shape a person's dreams, you can shape their reality. By the late 1970s, the dream research that had once promised revelation began to fade from mainstream science. Telepathy experiments were criticized for weak controls. Government funding shifted toward computer science and cognitive modeling, fields with more immediate applications. But even as the official projects ended, the influence of those decades lingered. Sleep labs around the world refined the technology first used in the dream studies: EEG, polysomnography, and eye movement tracking. Today, those same methods are used to map nightmares in trauma survivors, study memory consolidation, and explore the biology of consciousness. Ironically, the dream experiments designed for war helped build the modern science of sleep. And yet, the fascination with controlling dreams never really went away. In the 1990s and 2000s, consumer lucid dreaming devices claimed to train users to control their dream worlds. Recent neuroscience has taken this further, experimenting with electrical stimulation and real-time audio cues to influence dream content, now in the name of therapy or creativity instead of espionage. The tools are more advanced, but the question is the same: can you plant an idea in the human mind while it dreams? When you strip away the secrecy and the science fiction, what those Cold War dream experiments reveal is something deeply human: the desire to master the one part of ourselves still beyond control. We've mapped the body, measured the brain, sequenced the genome, but the dream remains a frontier. It's private, irrational, poetic, and untamable. And maybe that's why, in an age obsessed with data and dominance, the dream still feels subversive, because it's the last territory where the mind refuses to obey. And long after the Cold War ended, that might be the only weapon left worth keeping. Thanks for watching.